January 2026 is not just another date on the UK immigration calendar. It is a reset button. A new deportation framework, fresh targets, and smarter enforcement tools are about to redraw the line between compliance and removal. If you are living, working, or planning to move to the UK on a visa, these changes will decide who gets to stay and who is fast-tracked out. This video breaks down the 10 new rules shaping that decision, so you can understand where you stand before the system quietly decides it for you. Your future in the UK may hinge here. Number 1. Digital biometric tracking for all high-risk visa holders. Digital biometric tracking for all high-risk visa holders marks a major change in the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This system introduces a structured method where selected visa categories complete regular digital check-ins through mobile or government-issued platforms. These check-ins verify identity, location, and compliance with visa obligations. The model is shaped by global migration studies showing that early detection of movement patterns reduces rates of overstays. Under this rule, biometric updates capture face scans and live location data at scheduled intervals to create a clear activity timeline for each individual. Authorities use this timeline to identify unusual patterns that may indicate risk, making enforcement more proactive than before. The goal of this rule is not to restrict daily life, but to provide the Home Office with a reliable stream of time data. The new approach replaces older manual reporting systems that often produce delays and gaps. Research from migration behaviour institutes highlights how high-risk visa categories often show sudden movement changes before overstaying. The digital system is designed to catch those signals early. High-risk categories now include individuals with inconsistent work records, unverified addresses, or flagged travel histories. Each digital check-in strengthens the individual profile and reduces the chance of wrongful suspicion. For people who follow all requirements, the system is simple. Missed check-ins trigger automated alerts, prompting an officer review within hours rather than weeks. This acceleration forms a core part of the 2026 reset. People who repeatedly ignore reminders enter the early removal list because the system interprets the behaviour as possible non-compliance. The rule also encourages visa holders to maintain updated addresses, stable work activities, and verified social records. With these digital layers in place, authorities gain a clearer view of who remains compliant and who may require intervention. Number 2. Zero grace policy for 7 immigration offences. Zero grace policy for 7 immigration offences introduces a sharper enforcement approach within the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule identifies 7 behaviours that trigger automatic removal action without the previous buffer period. These behaviours include document fraud, intentional address hiding, repeated failure to attend visa appointments, providing false work records, misuse of public services, non-reported job changes, and continued residency at an unverified location. Government reviews show that these patterns often appear during the early stages of visa non-compliance. By removing the grace window, the Home Office aims to respond at the first sign of deliberate avoidance. Officials now receive instant alerts when any of the 7 actions are detected, raising the risk profile of the individual involved. This policy is shaped by findings from crime behaviour analysts, who note that consistent rule-breaking, even at low levels, predicts a higher chance of long-term immigration violations. The zero grace system aligns with that data, allowing authorities to act before minor behaviours grow into major breaches. Under the new model, flagged individuals are placed into a priority review queue, where evidence is analysed within days. The rule focuses on intent rather than severity, explaining why even small actions like skipped verification appointments carry significant weight. High-risk patterns are evaluated through digital reports, community checks, workplace confirmations, and submitted documents. People who follow the required steps will notice no change, but those who attempt shortcuts face faster consequences. The system automatically examines the individual's profile for consistency, comparing past submissions, tax records, and residential history. If an offence is verified, the case moves directly toward removal processing. The policy encourages visa holders to maintain clean documentation, respond quickly to official messages, and avoid actions that could be viewed as evasive. Through these tighter boundaries, the new rule strengthens compliance and reduces opportunities for long-term overstays. Number 3. AI-based overstay detection system. AI-based overstay detection system represents one of the most advanced elements of the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This system uses behavioural analytics, travel timelines, and digital activity trails to predict visa violations before they occur. Machine learning models study patterns such as sudden accommodation changes, irregular work attendance, unexplained financial inactivity, and gaps in digital check-ins. These indicators help the system recognise when someone may be preparing to overstay. The goal is early identification, allowing officers to review cases within hours. By analysing large datasets, the system reduces human error and creates a more consistent enforcement structure. The system operates through continuous pattern comparison rather than isolated checks. Each visa holder generates a behavioural profile updated through official submissions, workplace confirmations, and residency logs. The AI identifies anomalies by comparing an individual's pattern with thousands of historical cases involving overstays. Studies on predictive modelling show that early movement irregularities often occur weeks before someone breaks visa conditions. This rule builds on that evidence, enabling rapid review when the system detects behaviour outside the expected range. Officers receive alerts with risk scores that guide further verification. The focus is prevention, reducing the likelihood of long-term avoidance. For compliant individuals, the system functions silently in the background, without disrupting daily routines. People who maintain stable records and respond to official updates rarely trigger any alerts. Problems arise when repeated gaps appear in work activity, location reporting, or digital submissions that indicate possible evasion. These signals push the case into an accelerated review stage designed to reduce uncertainty and strengthen enforcement accuracy. The system encourages individuals to maintain verified addresses, consistent work participation, and timely communication with officials. By applying layered digital checks, the new rule supports cleaner records, faster decisions, and better identification of genuine compliance for authorities. Number 4. Priority deportation of repeat low-level offenders. Priority deportation of repeat low-level offenders introduces a new strategy within the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset, by shifting attention toward patterns rather than isolated incidents. This rule targets individuals who repeatedly commit minor offences such as public disorder, transport violations, shop theft, or workplace misconduct. Research on behavioural repetition shows that individuals engaged in frequent, small offences often progress toward higher-risk actions over time. The UK is adopting this insight to reduce long-term risks before they escalate. Under this rule, repeat offenders are placed into a fast-track assessment channel where their record, behaviour history, and community impact are reviewed together, instead of treating each offence separately. Authorities rely on cumulative behaviour rather than severity to determine risk. Multiple police warnings, penalty notices, or recurring disturbances create a behaviour model that signals consistent disregard for local rules. Crime pattern analysts highlight that repetition is one of the strongest predictors of future violations, making early intervention more effective. The new system allows officers to cross-check police logs, public disturbance records, employer complaints, and location data, building a clearer picture of how frequently an individual disrupts public order. This combined evaluation helps identify non-citizens who actively ignore conduct requirements tied to their visa. If the pattern is validated, the individual is transferred to a priority removal queue for faster processing. For people who respect the law, this change increases fairness by protecting communities while reducing unnecessary investigations into isolated mistakes. The rule aims to discourage repeated carelessness by making consequences more immediate and predictable. Individuals are encouraged to maintain stable routines, avoid disruptive environments, and take responsibility for minor incidents before they accumulate. The new approach offers clearer boundaries and supports local communities by removing repeat offenders who show ongoing patterns of rule-breaking within UK society. Number 5. New Proof of Contribution Requirement for Long-Term Stay. New Proof of Contribution Requirement for Long-Term Stay adds a performance-based standard to the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule focuses on long-term visa holders who want to maintain residency or renew extended stays. The requirement asks individuals to demonstrate clear evidence of positive contribution through tax consistency, verified employment, community involvement, and stable financial activity. Studies on immigrant integration show that meaningful contribution is strongly linked to lower violation risks. This model uses those findings to establish contribution as a measurable factor, rather than a general expectation. People must now present documentation that reflects real participation in economic and social systems. The rule introduces a contribution scoring structure that evaluates several areas of daily life. Individuals with regular tax submissions, continuous employment, and clean records receive higher stability scores. Those with inconsistent income, unverified work activities, or repeated benefit misuse face lower scores. Migration behaviour reports highlight that long-term overstayers often show contribution gaps before breaking visa terms. By applying this pattern, the Home Office can identify potential risks earlier. Officers review verified payslips, workplace confirmations, volunteer logs, and financial statements to determine whether someone is genuinely integrated. The system emphasizes consistent behavior rather than impressive achievements, offering equal assessment to all visa categories. For compliant residents, the requirement works as a straightforward organizational task. Problems arise when documentation is unclear, incomplete, or contradicts earlier submissions. People who cannot demonstrate contribution fall into a risk review stage, where officers check for irregular income, hidden work arrangements, or false records. The rule encourages individuals to maintain stable employment, update tax information, and participate in their local communities. It rewards consistency by strengthening the profiles of those who actively contribute. Through this structure, the UK aims to support responsible residents while identifying individuals whose low contribution signals a higher chance of non-compliance over time. Number 6. Fast-track deportation courts, 48 to 72-hour processing. Fast-track deportation courts introduce a major shift in the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset by replacing slow case handling with a tightly controlled 48 to 72-hour decision system. This rule addresses long delays that previously allowed non-compliant individuals to remain in the country for extended periods. The new model creates dedicated legal units trained to handle immigration violations at accelerated speed. These units review digital records, biometric logs, and risk alerts the moment a case is flagged. Studies on judicial backlog management show that rapid processing reduces system pressure and prevents evidence gaps caused by long waiting periods. By applying this structure, the UK aims to move from reactive enforcement to immediate resolution. The fast-track courts operate through a structured sequence designed for clarity and efficiency. Cases enter the system when AI alerts, police reports, or compliance breaches reach a certain threshold. Officers compile digital files containing address history, work records, behaviour patterns, and travel activity. These files are then reviewed by specialised judges who focus on immigration status rather than broader legal issues. Research on high-volume court environments shows that specialised teams produce faster and more consistent outcomes. This rule uses that insight to reduce unnecessary hearings and direct each case toward either confirmation of compliance or immediate removal action. The process prioritises evidence that can be verified digitally, reducing dependency on manual submissions. People with clean records rarely interact with this system, but those facing repeated compliance issues will notice more rapid responses from authorities. Missed check-ins, false documents, or unresolved violations now trigger review within days. The rule encourages individuals to maintain accurate records, respond quickly to official messages, and update personal information before inconsistencies accumulate. Fast-track courts offer quicker closure for compliant residents while placing firmer boundaries on those who repeatedly break immigration conditions. This approach improves system accuracy and strengthens enforcement by removing long delays that previously blocked swift decision-making. Number 7. Mandatory address verification every 90 days. Mandatory address verification every 90 days adds a structured residency check to the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule requires selected visa holders to confirm their living address every 90 days through digital platforms or in-person verification points. The system focuses on preventing hidden relocations, unregistered sublets, and accommodation switches that often occur before overstays. Research on migration monitoring shows that accurate address tracking significantly improves case management and reduces enforcement delays. The Home Office now uses geolocation logs, tenancy confirmations, and photo-verified check-ins to validate residential information. These updates create a clear timeline of stable living arrangements and reveal sudden shifts that may indicate compliance risks. The verification process is supported by a digital tracking model that compares each update with previous submissions. People with consistent housing records experience a smooth process, but irregular patterns trigger alerts for further review. Behavioural studies highlight that overstayers frequently change addresses to avoid official contact, making early detection essential. Officers can request proof, such as tenancy agreements, landlord confirmations, or utility documents when inconsistencies appear. The system evaluates gaps in updates, unverified roommates, and mismatched records to understand whether an individual is attempting to avoid oversight. The new structure gives authorities a more complete picture of residential stability across different visa categories. For compliant residents, the rule acts as a predictable routine that ensures their records remain up to date. Problems arise when individuals miss verification windows, fail to provide supporting documents, or submit conflicting information. Missing one cycle may trigger an automated reminder, but repeated failures can move the case into a risk assessment stage. The rule encourages visa holders to maintain reliable accommodation, communicate promptly with landlords, and store accurate documentation for verification. By creating consistent checkpoints, the system strengthens monitoring, reduces uncertainty, and offers authorities a clearer understanding of who maintains lawful residence and who shows signs of potential non-compliance. Number 8. Family Accompaniment Clause. If one violates, all are reviewed. Family Accompaniment Clause introduces a collective review method within the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule states that if one family member within a shared immigration unit commits a compliance violation, the entire family's case enters a structured review. The model is based on research showing that visa breaches sometimes occur within shared living arrangements rather than isolated individuals. Authorities now examine contribution records, address stability, financial activity, and digital submissions for all connected members. The goal is to prevent situations where one individual breaks rules while others remain undocumented in the same household. This collective approach encourages greater accountability and shared responsibility within families. The system evaluates each member individually while also interpreting group behaviour patterns. Studies on household migration trends reveal that people living together often share resources, routines, and decisions, making collective assessment more reliable. Under the new method, officers examine factors such as shared addresses, joint financial records, and repeated inconsistencies in group documentation. If one person fails a check, the Home Office verifies whether others in the same household have accurate records or show similar irregularities. The rule is designed to prevent hidden overstayers who rely on compliant relatives to remain undetected. It also reduces delays caused by incomplete family documentation during reviews. For families who follow all visa requirements, the rule creates a smoother verification routine and encourages consistent document organisation. Families with unstable housing, irregular income patterns, or mismatched records may experience more frequent checks. Repeated inconsistencies push the entire unit into a higher risk category, prompting faster assessments. This rule encourages families to maintain transparency, keep updated records, and ensure every member follows immigration guidelines. By applying group-level oversight, the system reduces opportunities for individual rule-breaking within family units and offers authorities a clearer understanding of overall compliance in shared households. Number 9. Workplace Liability Rule. Employers must report visa violations. Workplace Liability Rule introduces a stronger partnership between employers and the Home Office under the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule requires employers to report visa inconsistencies, irregular attendance patterns, unverified work shifts, or identity mismatches within a fixed reporting window. Studies on labour compliance show that many overstays begin with employment irregularities such as off-record shifts or sudden job abandonment. The rule aims to reduce these early gaps by placing responsibility on workplaces that interact with visa holders every day. Employers must now use digital verification tools that match biometric profiles with shift records, creating a more transparent link between employment activity and immigration compliance. The system uses employment data to detect early warning signs of non-compliance. When attendance logs, income summaries, or onboarding details differ from official visa information, automated alerts notify the Home Office. Research on workplace monitoring shows that irregular job patterns are often linked to hidden address changes and unreported employment switches. Under this rule, officers examine employer submissions, shift timetables, payment records, and identification checks to confirm whether someone is working within permitted conditions. Employers who fail to report irregularities face penalties, encouraging consistent cooperation. This structure strengthens the accuracy of immigration records by validating work history through verified, real-time data. For compliant workers, the rule creates a clearer employment record that benefits future renewals and long-term applications. Problems arise when individuals switch jobs without reporting, hide hours to avoid detection, or provide employers with outdated documents. Repeated inconsistencies move the individual into a higher risk category and can trigger workplace audits. The rule encourages visa holders to maintain updated employment details, communicate changes promptly, and avoid informal work that cannot be verified. By building a direct link between lawful employment and immigration status, the system improves transparency, supports responsible workplaces, and reduces opportunities for visa misuse across the labour market. Number 10. Expansion of the Public Safety Trigger List. Expansion of the Public Safety Trigger List introduces a sharper, safety-focused filter within the January 2026 UK Deportation Reset. This rule adds 5 new behaviours to the existing safety list, allowing authorities to flag individuals for rapid review even without criminal charges. These behaviours include repeated involvement in neighbourhood conflicts, verified association with high-risk groups, consistent reports of threatening conduct, misuse of emergency services, and participation in disruptive gatherings that impact public order. Studies on behavioural risk assessment show that early patterns of instability often appear long before a criminal offence occurs. By adding these behaviours to the safety list, the Home Office aims to intervene earlier in situations where public welfare may be affected. The expanded list operates on verified patterns rather than isolated claims. Officers examine multiple sources such as community reports, police log entries, neighbourhood incident notes, and digital behaviour flags to determine whether an individual demonstrates recurring risk signals. Research on community safety trends highlights that people involved in repeated disturbances often create long-term friction within local environments. The new structure allows authorities to evaluate these patterns using data from social service departments, local councils, and community organisations. Once a pattern is confirmed, the case enters a safety review channel, where the individual's visa status, address stability, and behavioural history are analysed together. This method reduces uncertainty and ensures decisions rely on consistent evidence. Visa holders who maintain stable routines and respectful behaviour only benefit from this change, as it strengthens community protections and prevents misuse of public spaces. Issues arise when individuals repeatedly draw negative reports or display patterns that threaten local peace. These behaviours trigger detailed reviews that may lead to early removal action. The rule encourages residents to engage responsibly with neighbours, avoid disruptive environments, and respond to official safety inquiries. Through this expanded list, the UK aims to build safer neighbourhoods while identifying individuals whose conduct consistently signals potential risk. The January 2026 UK Deportation Reset signals a turning point in how immigration compliance is monitored, measured, and enforced. These 10 new rules show a clear shift toward faster decisions, deeper digital tracking, and stronger accountability across families, workplaces, and communities. The system is moving toward a model where consistency, contribution, and transparency matter more than ever. Anyone living in the UK under a visa will be expected to maintain accurate records, stable routines, and clear communication with authorities. The more predictable your behaviour is, the stronger your immigration profile becomes. The people most at risk are those who leave gaps, hide important updates, or ignore repeated compliance reminders. These rules are designed to prevent long-term overstays, identify early warning signs, and remove individuals who show ongoing patterns of non-compliance. As the reset takes effect, staying informed becomes essential. Understanding how these rules work gives you the advantage of preparing early, recognizing risks before they escalate, and aligning your actions with the new standards. Strong documentation, verified details, and steady contribution will play a bigger role in protecting your status than ever before. If this breakdown helped you understand the 2026 UK changes, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing which rule surprised you the most. Your engagement helps this channel reach more people who need this information. And if you want a detailed video on any single rule, tell me below.